Hi, this is Susan Adams with Quilted Hearts. We are on the Urban Cabin Quilt-A-Long Block 5. Here's your pattern. If you haven't gotten a pattern, it's never too late to sign up and do the quilt-along with us. Then you show your blocks after 2 weeks, like on the 15th and the 1st. And I do a drawing for a prize. So we're going to get started with number 5. And I was going to show you this because I don't know if I showed you this, but I use these little clips to hold my pieces together that go with this block. I put, like, this is for block 5, so I've got a little number 5 in Sharpie on it. And that holds them together so that I don't have to go searching for them when it's time to do the block. Okay, so we're going to start in the middle and we work out. So I'm going to start with the 2x2 black, and then I'm going to sew the 1.5 by 3s around it. Let me put my pieces right here. All right, now the first one you line up with the top, and I'm only going to do a partial seam. I'm only going to go like halfway down. The more you leave down here, the easier it is to do your last row, your last seam. So I'm just going to go and sew halfway down, and I'm going to stop. See, like that. And then I'm going to iron it towards the dark, but I'm just going to finger press it because it's just a little seam. Then I'm going to lay the next one across the top like that, and I'm going to sew that on. And I will finger press this one to the dark also. But you know what, with this one, it doesn't matter. This gray fabric's pretty dark, so it doesn't matter that much. You just don't want to have your seam showing on the other side. Then I'm going to lay the next one down the left side. Sew clear to the end, like that. And then move this piece out of the way and sew this one along the bottom. All right? I'm going to stop right here because this bottom one's a little bit longer than this, and this is how I keep mine squared up. Is it whatever one's a little bit longer, like you can kind of see this black sticks out just a little bit more than the top. I want to ease that in, and it's easier to ease it in if it's on the bottom. The short one is on the top and the longer one is on the bottom. And then that just, your machine automatically just kind of eases it in. Makes it really easy to ease. All right. We've got the third one on. Now we'll just finish the first one. Well, I got the fourth one on. We're gonna finish up this very first one that we did, and I'm going to start here at this end and end down here where I had ended last time. And I have my first round done. Okay, this is where you can iron if you want to get everything nice and pressed. It makes going over those seams a lot easier if it's pressed nice. And also you can measure it up right now to see if it's going to be the right size, and it should measure 4, and it does. It measures 4. Okay, so the next one I do is the white. Okay, so I'm going to put the white on the right side. I always start on the right side unless it tells you different, and sometimes it tells you different because we're getting into the squares with a little twist. They all don't just go clear around. We're going to have some halfways. So like I said, if you leave more of a space here, it's easier to get those that last row on. Okay, now this one, because I've got white, you really want to press it towards the dark so that the dark doesn't show through on this side. And then I'm going to go across the top. Just like we've been doing on all the other blocks. Okay. And I'm going to just finger press that down. Now I'm going to put the right side on. See which one's longer. Okay, and now the last side, the bottom, is going on. And it really depends on how your seams are, on which one you're going to, but the ones you cut are usually the ones you want to ease into, because the ones you cut, is what I'm meaning by these white strips. I cut those to the right size. So I want it to be that size when I'm done. That keeps it an accurate size. All right, now I'm gonna lay this one down and see how I kind of got off, and that's maybe just because of my seams. I didn't take them as deep as I normally do, and yeah, I see on this very end I kind of ran off, and it's a little bit smaller seam, so I'm gonna unpick because the bottom isn't even lined up. That's what that'll do. That'll do that. We'll just sew that over a little bit, and then I'll bet you it lines up great. Yep, it did. That's all I had to do, that little tiny bit. Because you know, when you're off like a 1/16, which doesn't seem like much, it makes it an 1/8 because you're doubling that with another seam allowance of an 1/8. And it makes it an 1/8, I mean. All right, so we're all done there, and I'm going to iron those to the dark. And I've got this little cordless iron from Panasonic, and it works pretty good. The only thing I don't like about it is it turns off, so I have to constantly remember to turn it back on. All right. So I have this all done. Now I just need to get my little strings off. All right, now I'm going to put the next row on, which is the darker blue. This one right here. I'm going to start on the right, just as I did before. And then after this is when we do the half, the one with the little side half that puts a little twist in the square. Partial seam. Oh, I ironed that to the wrong side after all that. I'm gonna redo that. Well, I'll redo it in a minute. I just got to make sure this seam is right and that one's right. I really pay attention to that now, because one time when I was getting a quilt judged, and I'd never had a quilt judged before, I knew that I was told to do that, iron to the dark, but I didn't on some of the seams, and I was docked because of that. So it is really nice to get your quilts judged once in a while, because then you find out the crucial little things you do that you don't really realize makes a difference in how your quilt looks in the end. Okay, so I just sewed the top on. And now I'm going to sew the the left side on. And this one has a lot more rows, so now the squares are going to take you a little bit longer to do, because there's going to be more little pieces, little things to do. Okay. And now across the bottom. Okay, across the bottom, and now I'm going to go over to this partial seam I did and sew it complete. Okay, so now because I had those seams that I pressed towards the dark, what I'm going to do here, instead of re-sewing it, I'm just going to clip as close as I can get to the seam, and just when I iron it, I'll iron it out back, and you won't even know. Just be careful not to cut through your stitches on the side you're cutting and on the there. Sometime when I'm in doing things for people, I forget what I'm doing. You know how you kind of get nervous and you're not thinking about it. Alrighty. one more little press. All right, now we're going to start those different little things. So you got to pay attention to what you're doing. And I'm going to start with doing across the bottom. See, this is a little bit different. So I'm going to sew one across the bottom, then I'm going to sew one down the right side. This you won't have a partial seam. You just sew across. And then I'm going to just finger press it right now. And then sew this one down the right side. So we did it just that way, right like that. And I'm going to press them in. To the dark. All right, there we got that one. Okay, now I'm going to lay across the bottom again. So I've got the right side done and the bottom, and I'm going to lay across the bottom like that. And then I'm going to do this side again. It would be your right side, okay? I'm gonna see. Yep. I found it, I cut this and then I couldn't remember what I cut it to, so I just put a pin in it that this was one that may be the wrong size, so I have to cut it off. And sure enough, it is. It's a ½ inch too long. I did that in my cutting a lot. I got kind of confused of what I was cutting and cut more of one and less of another, unless my instructions were wrong, but I don't, I'm not sure. Because it gets kind of confusing, as you well know, when you're cutting it all at once, if you did it that way. Okay, so I just cut that off. All right, now iron that to the dark. I know it's very repetitious, the ironing to the dark thing, but there's a lot of ironing with this, or pressing, I guess you'd say. All right, okay, so here we've got this part done. Now I'm going to put on the strip on the left side, okay? And it's a skinnier strip. It's a 1-inch strip. I'm gonna put that one on. Okay, finger press that to the dark, and then I'm going to put on the left side. now that I have this left side on, well, I guess that one was the top and the left. Let me see. Yeah, I did the left and then I did the top. Sorry, I got confused. All right, now I'm going to put on a left one that is white. I think this is it gets easier, but you just have to make sure you follow the instructions to know what you're putting on next, because that's the only thing that gets a little confusing. I wonder if my needle's getting dull. Again. Okay, so I've got my left side on, and now I'm going to go across the top with the skinny white. And then I'll go clear around with the light blue, and we'll have block 5 done. All right, now I'm going to press these all to the dark. Getting covered in threads. All right. All right, so this is how far we are right now. Okay? We're like that. Now I'm going to sew the last round on the light blue, and I'm going to do it just how we've done all the others, where I do the first one with a partial, and then the go around the rest. So I'll do this right side. And then I'll do the top. Oh. Well, this one is too long. I might have done something wrong. Let me see when I get this done. Let me see what I did. I may not have cut these wide enough, but my others worked that I did. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's supposed to be at 11. Okay. So all of these are going to be a little bit too long because I was supposed to cut them at 11. Let's see. And I think I cut them at like 11.5. Yeah, I cut them at 11.5. They were supposed to be cut at 11. See, I did that, and that's my own fault for not paying attention when I was cutting them out. So I'm just gonna trim this off right here. Cut this 1/2 inch off right there. And trim this 1/2 inch off right here. And I gotta make sure that I have a 1/2 inch left on this one. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Normally I'd go ahead and get my rotary cutter, measure it, and cut them off, but I'm just trimming them off this one. So you guys don't have to sit there and wait while I do that. And then I'll finish this one off. And starting, I'm going to start a 1/2 inch, and I have a measuring right here on my sewing machine that I use a lot. And then I use my cutting board also. Okay, now I'll trim this. And I have I got block 5 done. So now I'm gonna just press it and then I'm gonna measure it to make sure that I've got it all pressed. So that it'll measure accurately. All right, block 5A. This is block 5A, and I'm gonna measure it up here, and yep, it measures 12.5, which is awesome. So there you go with block 5 and A, and this is block 5B. Okay, there you have it. Thanks for joining in. Bye-bye.